Question number 6. A newspaper conducted a statewide survey concerning the 2008 race for state senator. The newspaper took a random sample, assume it's an SRS, of 1,200 registered voters and found that 620 would vote for the Republican candidate. Let P represent the proportion of registered voters in the state that would vote for the Republican candidate. What is a 90% confidence interval for P? All right, so let's just start with the general formula. We want a point estimate plus or minus a margin of error. Okay. Which then the specific formula would be, P hat is our point estimate. The margin of error is going to be our critical value times the standard error, P hat 1 minus P hat over n. Yeah. Now, if you don't have all that stuff memorized, it's okay, right? It's here in the formula sheet, right? So here's your point estimate, right? P hat. Okay. Here is the standard error, right? Square root with the p hats inside. All right. So what we know is we know the sample size, so n equals 1,200, and we know how many of the people in the sample voted for the Republican, so that should be enough for us to figure out the sample proportion. 620 divided by 1,200 is 0.5167. It's actually a repeating 6, but I'm going to round to 4 decimal places. Okay. All right. The other thing we know is the confidence level is 90%. Okay, so what critical value would we use for 90%? Okay, so there is, in this table here, a list of critical values. Okay, so 90%, you can see here that the critical value is 1.645. All right, you're going to get this on the test. You'll get that table. All right, so the critical value 1.645. Okay, so I think we have everything we need to just plug it in and compute. Okay. So 0.5167 plus or minus 1.645 times the square root of 0.5167 times, okay, 1 minus that would be 0.4833 divided by 1,200. Forget that. I did that mentally. Like, we don't even have to do that. We can just write 1 minus 0.5167. Okay. All right, and then you can just type this directly onto your calculator screen. Sorry, I take that back. You can't do the plus or minus, so you'd have to type it in twice, once with the minus sign and once with the plus sign. Actually, no. Let's see. Looking at the answer choices, we don't have to actually find the endpoints of the interval. We already have the point estimate, so it looks like they rounded to 3 decimal places, not 4 like I did. We just have to figure out what the margin of error is, right? So looking at that, and we'll use our calculator to simplify that part right there. Okay, 1.645 square root 0.5167 minus 0.5167 over 1,200. Okay, calculator says that portion is 237, which I suppose would round to 24. All right, so C is going to be the correct choice.